Well, I never thought I would be doing this, seeking advice from the internet or telling my story, but I don't want to let my friends and family know just yet. I want to preface, always pay attention to red flags, no matter what. Sometimes life throws you curveballs that you just can't process alone. This is my story of betrayal, lies, and how my 11-year marriage fell apart. I married my wife right out of college. We were young, in love, and ready to take on the world together. For a long time, things were good between us. We both worked hard, me at a tech company, her climbing the ladder at a fast food chain, where she eventually became a regional manager. We bought a small house in California. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We tried having kids for the first few years, but my wife had some medical issues that made it impossible. It was tough on both of us, especially her, but we got through it, or at least I thought we did. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but whose is? We had our routine, our inside jokes, our favorite shows to watch together, normal stuff. Then about 6 months ago, I got laid off from my job. Tech industry cuts, nothing personal, just business. Still sucked though. My wife seemed supportive at first, said not to worry, her job as regional manager was stable and she'd pick up some overtime while I looked for something new. I was grateful, started sending out resumes right away and took some interviews. The job market was tough, but I was staying positive. About a month into my unemployment, I noticed changes in my wife. Small things at first. She started working late more often, sometimes till midnight or later. Said there were staffing issues at various locations she managed. It made sense. She was the regional manager after all. She'd come home exhausted, said she already ate dinner, took a shower and fell into bed. I tried to be understanding, even though I was feeling pretty useless being unemployed. I took over most of the cooking and cleaning, trying to contribute what I could. Then I noticed her paycheck didn't reflect all these supposed overtime hours. When I asked about it, she almost bit my head off, and I don't remember accusing her of anything. Said the overtime would show up on the next pay period, or that some of it was comp time she'd take later. Always an excuse. I started looking for her overtime hours on subsequent paychecks too. Nothing. Now, I was starting to get suspicious. Around this time, I started getting this weird burning sensation when I peed. Figured it was just stress, or maybe something I ate, but it got worse, not better. With no job, at least I still had health insurance through my wife's work. Decided to make an appointment for a physical. Been putting it off too long anyway. The doctor did the usual checks. Then I mentioned the burning. They ran some tests. 2 days later, I got a call asking me to come back in. The doctor looked uncomfortable when I sat down in his office. There's no easy way to say this, but you've tested positive for chlamydia, he told me. My brain couldn't process what he was saying. Chlamydia? An STD? What the fuck? How the hell could I have an STD? I hadn't been with anyone except my wife for over 11 years. The doctor must have seen the shock on my face. He explained the treatment, said it was easily curable with antibiotics. Then came the hard part. I needed to tell my wife so she could get treated too. I nodded numbly, took the prescription, and walked out in a daze. The drive home was a blur. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of something that made no sense. There was only one explanation, but I didn't want to believe it. My wife of 11 years cheating on me? No way she wouldn't. While I was unemployed and vulnerable, I got home and sat in the driveway for almost an hour, trying to figure out what to do. Confront her right away, tried to catch her in the act. In the end, I decided I needed to do a little more digging before saying anything. I needed to know for sure. That night when she came home late again, I acted normal. I was the blind, supportive husband. Asked about her day, made small talk. She seemed distracted, checking her phone more than usual. Said she was tired and went to bed early. I was lying in bed, listening to her breathe, wondering if she was dreaming about whoever gave her, and by extension, me, an STD. The next morning, I waited until she went into the bathroom to put on her makeup, then checked her phone. She'd changed her passcode. After 11 years of marriage, suddenly she needed privacy. Well, that wasn't good. I decided to follow her after she left for work. Normally, I'd be job hunting, so she wouldn't expect me to be tailing her. I waited until she'd been gone about 10 minutes, then drove to one of the locations she told me she was inspecting. She claimed she was going to be at this location all day. Her car was there, which meant nothing since she managed multiple locations. I parked across the street where I could see her car, but it wouldn't be obvious, and I waited. Hours went by. I was starting to feel stupid sitting there when her car pulled out of the parking lot around 5:30 p.m. I followed at a distance, expecting her to head to one of the other restaurant locations. Instead, she drove to a new subdivision about 15 minutes away. A real nice subdivision. My stomach twisted as I watched her park in the driveway and walked confidently up to this house. She didn't hesitate, didn't look around nervously, just knocked once and waited like she'd done it 100 times before. Maybe she had. I sat there feeling sick, wondering what to do next. Confront her now? Wait and see who she was with? I decided to wait. A few seconds later, a man opened the door and greeted her. Average height, bit of a belly, balding. Not what I expected. My wife followed him into the house, kissed him before walking in the house. I took photos with my phone, my hands shaking so bad they were almost blurry, but they were clear enough. I didn't follow her home. Instead, I drove around for hours, trying to process everything. The overtime lies, the STD, the house she drove to, and the man she was with. 11 years of marriage, and this is where we ended up. When I finally went home, my wife was acting concerned, asking where I'd been. I hesitated a little bit before I answered. I told her I was job hunting. I didn't confront her that night or the next day. I needed time to think, to plan. California's is a no-fault divorce state, so catching her cheating didn't really matter legally. But I wanted to be smart about this. I didn't have money for a private investigator. Didn't need one now anyway. I had my proof. I spent the next week researching divorce laws while pretending everything was normal. I started moving important documents to a safe place, all of my important documents and records on a secure USB drive, off of the computer we shared, opened a new bank account at a different bank, and transferred a small amount of money there, just enough to survive on for a while, not enough to raise suspicions. I also went to the doctor to start my antibiotics. I didn't tell my wife about the STD. Let her find out from her own doctor whenever she decides to get checked. I found a lawyer who offered free initial consultations, explained my situation, showed him the photos. He confirmed what I already knew. In California, the cheating wouldn't impact the division of assets. But since I was unemployed and my wife earned significantly more than me, I might be entitled to spousal support, temporary alimony. The thought made me sick at first. I didn't want her money. But then I thought about how she gave me an STD while I was faithfully sending out resumes and keeping our house clean and remaining faithful to her. The lawyer helped me file the paperwork. When everything was ready, I arranged for my wife to be served with divorce papers at work. Petty, maybe, but giving your husband an STD is putting my life at risk. I wasn't home when she got the papers. I was staying at my buddy's place, had been for 2 days, ever since everything was filed. She blew up my phone with texts and calls. I didn't answer. Finally sent one text. You know why? Her response, "This is about the overtime, isn't it? You followed me." Real mature, no denial, no apology, just anger at being caught. That told me everything I needed to know about where our marriage stood. The divorce process was surprisingly quick. My wife didn't contest anything. It seemed like she just wanted it over with. The judge awarded me $600 a month in alimony for 3 years. Not a fortune, but enough to help while I got back on my feet. My wife looked surprised at the ruling. Guess she hadn't bothered to research divorce laws. We sold the house and split the proceeds. I found an apartment. Nothing special, but affordable. Started fresh. The first few months were hard. I'd wake up having nightmares about following her. Catch myself buying her favorite foods at the grocery store. Old habits die hard. The job hunt continued. I finally landed something about 4 months after the divorce was finalized. Entry-level position. Less money than I was making before, but it was a start. Sometimes I wonder if I should have confronted her before filing for divorce, given her a chance to explain. But what explanation could there possibly be for lying, cheating, and giving your spouse an STD? Some bridges can't be unburned. It's been almost a year now since everything fell apart. I still get the alimony checks each month, each one a reminder of what happened. I've thought about telling her to stop sending them now that I'm employed again, but then I remember the antibiotics I had to take, the humiliation at the doctor's office, the night spent wondering what I did wrong. So I cash the checks, call it compensation for pain and suffering. I haven't dated much since the divorce. Hard to trust after something like that, but I'm getting there. I started going to the gym regularly, reconnected myself with some of my old hobbies, like bowling. I used to love to bowl, building a new life one day at a time. If there's a lesson in all this, maybe it's that you never really know someone completely, even after 11 years. Or maybe the lesson is simpler. Check the overtime on the paychecks. LOL could save you a trip to the doctor. Either way, I'm doing okay now. Better than okay some days. Life goes on even after betrayal, even after STDs and divorce papers and catching her at this guy's house. Well, life has to go on. No ifs, ands, or buts. And eventually, you start to be glad that it does. So, when you have healed, maybe open your heart again to find someone who is genuine and wouldn't betray you no matter what.